shonen anime can be heavily criticized for the poor writing of female characters, for making them into a plot device, an expendable love interest for one of the main protagonists, or trapping them in fanservice. And Demon Slayer is one of those series that has been criticized as well. Not because the characters themselves were poorly written, but because the storyline was rushed towards the end, so some female characters were not explored as much as they should be. The main example is Nezuko, who is supposed to be the secondary main character of Demon Slayer. She has so many concepts that were barely explored because she only appeared when Tanjiro needed her. Concepts like her trauma, her own relationships, what are her goals and motivations besides protecting Tanjiro, and she never got her own episodes. Mitsuri is a great character that shows the flaws of beauty standards imposed by men and how she can finally find happiness by breaking free of what's expected of her. But even then, she's put into so many unnecessary fanservice moments that caters to the male gaze, which was supposed to be the opposite of her theme. In my opinion, the only female character in this series that defied all of these tropes was Shinobu Kocho. First, let's talk about why she subverts these traditional tropes. Shinobu never had a male love interest, despite having the best chemistry with Giyu than other actual couples, unlike all other female characters. Not that having a love interest is wrong, but shonen women are often doomed to end up in a relationship with guy even if they don't have good chemistry on screen or if it was one-sided. She is never sexualized or objectified like the others. Kocho always rejects revealing clothing and has really short hair. It's symbolic, both visually and thematically relevant, because it represents how she represses her emotions, and therefore herself, in an encapsulated cocoon without revealing her true feelings. Her appearance as a butterfly is fake itself, as she's still trapping herself inside the chrysalis with no hope of getting out. In a sense, you could call her a caterpillar. And caterpillars are really good at camouflaging and mimicry, which are themes significant to Kocho herself. She always masks her anger and she mimics her sister's personality as a coping mechanism. Kocho only becomes a butterfly when she meets Duma and lets all her insecurities and emotions pour out. You could compare her to a monarch caterpillar, which eats on poisonous milkweed to build up toxins in its body. This is a defense mechanism because even if a predator tries to eat one of these butterflies, it will poison them and give time for the other butterflies to escape. This symbolism really ties in with Kocho, who kept injecting wisteria poison into her own body, so when Duma ingests her, he won't have time to recover as fast, and therefore enabled both Kanao and Inosuke to kill him. She became a butterfly and released all her emotions for one last time, so her friends could have a chance to live. Another theme that she explores is the sense of inferiority. Shinobu feels inferior because of her strength to decapitate a demon. She wishes for a different body. Shinobu warns Tanjiro that he might not be accepted by everyone due to Nezuko, which may parallel to what she experienced by being the weakest Hashira, and becomes one of the first people to actually understand Tanjiro's situation in his trial despite her hatred towards demons. She tries to fit into this trope by acting calm and composed, but sometimes ends up being passive-aggressive because that is not her. It's one of the reasons why she enjoys talking with Giyu. They both have an inferiority complex that prevents them from believing in their self-worth. Giyu is guilty because he thinks his best friend should have saved himself and lived instead of him, and bears the guilt of his sister's death. Kocho wishes she was stronger because she cannot physically decapitate any demons to avenge her sister. People praise her for her grace, elegance, and compassion, but that's just Kocho trying to imitate Kanai so her sister's soul can metaphorically live with her and guide not only herself but the rest of the butterfly mansion. But she knows that she can't replicate the same kindness that Kanai embodied. Another reason Shinobu looked up to her sister was because Kanai was a skilled fighter who lasted a fight with Doma until sunrise. Therefore Shinobu's weak physical strength and a mental state filled with hate prevented her from being like her sister, which torments her. Shinobu even believed that her sister told her to leave the Demon Slayer Corps because she knew Kocho wouldn't be strong enough to kill Duma. Of course, she injected wisteria poison into her blood daily, so Duma will be handicapped if he devoured her, but one can also read it as a way that she was essentially punishing her own body for being so weak. Even if she had a stronger body, I think she would still inject poison into herself, but she would have more hope to survive until the end and have more confidence in her skills. Tragically, Shinobu was even underestimated in her final moments because Duma didn't believe that she could kill him. However, Kocho never gave up. She kept fighting until the end, with Kanai's soul encouraging her. Yes, She's a character driven by revenge and hatred for the demons. But Kocho never acknowledges her own selflessness. She underestimates her capacity to love and understand. Kocho is not just fighting for her sister's death but to save everyone from doom. She does not want anyone else to feel what she experiences. That's her compassion, and she will not hesitate to sacrifice her own life to save everyone. Kocho never let her own body stop her from reaching her target and used her body as a winning tactic instead. Her selflessness and her raw emotions to save everyone else was so strong that Duma, who does not usually feel emotions, said that he fell in love with her after he was killed. After all, they're opposites of each other. One pretends to feel nothing but harbors a storm of emotions inside. The other one pretends to feel everything but feels nothing inside. He is cold just like his powers. She's hiding all of her emotions behind a smile and he is pretending to show emotions through a smile. Shinobu also underestimates how much her life meant for other people just because she believed that she wasn't someone that people would confide in for strength, like Gyomei for example. Kanao, who gave up feeling any emotions, cried a lot when Shinobu was killed. Inosuke was overwhelmed with anger as Shinobu was like an older sister figure to him. Both Tanjiro and Giyu were momentarily shocked when her death was announced. As a result, Kocho gets one of the most thematically significant fights in the whole series. It's a battle that people rewatch not just because of the fighting, breathing styles and blood demon art but because of the clash between three thematically significant characters. It's true that in many shonen anime, almost all the female characters are nerfed down compared to the male characters, and even if they are powerful, they barely use their powers. Shinobu could have fallen under this trope since she's the physically weakest Hashira, but she is one of the reasons why the demon slayers are able to go head to head with Muzan. First, she is the only Hashira that's a medical professional and helps injured slayers recover from their battle wounds. Her pharmaceutical knowledge saves the lives of many injured slayers each day, compared to all other Hashiras. She was the reason why Zenitsu's life was saved and helped the trio get back into good health, especially Tanjiro, despite how most of the Hashira barely acknowledged him early on. Next, she developed her own breathing style that focuses on her strengths like speed and thrust power and then uses a highly potent version of wisteria poison in her attacks. Shinobu is the main reason for Doma's death, and her collaboration with Tamayo is what created the aging potion that weakened Muzan. Her skills are always put to use each time she was on screen. In conclusion, she is one of the best characters in Demon Slayer that shouldn't be slept on. And weirdly enough, showcases an example of a strongly written female character. People often ignore what she strived for because her aim was revenge, while ignoring why she wanted to kill Doma and Muzan in the first place. They were demons that cannot be negotiated with and would happily rob so many innocent lives for their own desires. Her willingness to end this cycle of predator and prey was what saved everyone. Without her efforts, the ending of Demon Slayer would drastically change. Not everyone is born with the ideal human body, and sometimes we ourselves become an obstacle that we can never overcome. But that shouldn't overshadow what things you can do. It won't be easy, and you can fall down. As long as you accept yourself for who you are, the fall that you'll take will be a softer one. Something you can recover from. So don't leave any regrets left behind.